So we have some sad news that we wanted to spend the last 15 minutes on for the show. Our good friend, one of the OGs of Office Hours, John Pretto, had passed away. So he passed away, I believe, yesterday. And John was such a core part of Office Hours for so long. And some of you who have come here didn't see him, but he was here every day, and his health got to a point where he couldn't be on the show. But even when his health was failing and he was having a really hard time, he was here as much as he possibly could be here every single day. Other than, I think, there was some point in time where John was actually at more of the Office Hours meetings than I was. And so he was really, and it's not just his participation and what he brought to the conversation. It was really, so many things in the back end that he was constantly working on. There's so much data points that we have. There's things that we would not remember or know about Office Hours if John hadn't been building databases of who was here and what was, it's all of this stuff that is very core to what we do. And just an incredible friend, and a friend of Office Hours, friend of myself, friend of many people here on the panel. And I just was going to give anybody who here wants to say anything about it, go ahead and raise your hand in the panel discussion. But I just, he was just such an amazing person, and really we just had, there was so much that he did for Office Hours. We had a great year and a half ago at NAB. We had this incredible dinner that he put on that, really brought us all together. And I felt like John really got Office Hours. Like it was something that was really passionate for him, but it was something that he really and really just was just a really great person to be part of. And we don't know what the funeral plans are. We're going to let you know if there's something online. We will we're gonna find out where. Maybe we'll watch it in after hours. We've had a handful of people, pass. It's an interesting thing to feel so close to people around the world. And John is actually one of the Office Hours members that I've actually met in person. And just such an incredible person. And so we were just really, we just wanted to let everybody know, to make sure that everybody knows that a really good friend of Office Hours has moved on to the next step. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't been around for a long time, it was John's rocket launch, I think, that was the one moment when we moved from being an all-virtual group to seeing what it was like to hang around with Office Hours people in an actual physical environment. And it was such an amazing event. We were all out at Jean Lake. For those of you who didn't know, John's passion, one of his passions in life was rocketry.
One of John's passions.
Yeah, one of John's passions.
The one thing is that John played full out in a lot of different directions. And I mean, the lighting on his house was next level. So I don't know if anyone has any pictures of that, but anyway, go ahead, Bill.
Yeah. But here's the thing, we were coming out of the pandemic, the vaccine was out and things like that. So we were starting to think, well, maybe we can get together. And so we heard about John doing his qualifications for these huge rockets. This rocket that we launched was like taller than any of us by a substantial margin. And it was the arrival in Las Vegas and getting out there on Jean Lake in the desert and just literally being in each other's presence that I think formed the initial, for me, nucleus of, I know these people virtually, but these are real people. Mm-hmm. And the warmth, the companionship, the camaraderie, I will help. I mean, everybody out there who came from the Office Hours core had this same spirit of, how can I help you? I'm not here for money. I'm not here for glory. I'm just here because I've seen you people in Office Hours. I know you're people like me who think the same way, and let's all get together and do something magnificent. And it was so extraordinary because here we had this big rocket launch, and Vienna's off on the other side of the world, and we had experts on space from there, and we did a real virtual onto the web, amazing live show with satellite connections from out in the middle of nowhere. And I think a lot of us realize the potential for community really coming together and doing something very powerful. And we saw the promise of what our virtual little thing was doing. So we're all there's a little chunk of our heart that's missing today because John was there at the beginning and was a big part of the heart of this organization.
You go ahead, Hosman.
Yeah, when I joined office hours in March, April 2020, I watched the show for a couple of weeks. And then, like Mike was to Tony, John was probably played a similar role, encouraging me to participate or ask questions and not be shy about being involved. And I think he had a South African connection somewhere, so he was quite interested. And he also has a medical folks in his family. So I think he kind of resonated with a lot of that with me. But I mentioned in office hours during COVID that I've been able to get brios quite freely. So John was the first to ask me can you please ship this brio to me? Are you sure you can get the brio? Will it get here on time? And I had to give him assurance that yes, it will get on time. Yes, it is the genuine product. And I sent it to him, and in 4 days it was in Las Vegas, and he was so happy, so thrilled, because at that time the brio was like looking for gold. That actually gave a lead to Alex, so I became known as the mafioso for securing brios in South Africa. And
we had to get 20 of them, and after John did it, I talked to, I had to tell a client, I was like, I saw John do it, and I told a client, I was like, I think I can get these brios, and
I know a guy
shipped in group. I know a guy in South Africa, and every time after that, after John had kind of broken the new ground, and I had figured it out, my client would go every time we were short on something, because during COVID, they were like, are you going to go to your guy in South Africa, to get these for you? And but John was the one that kind of figured that all out. Yeah, go ahead, Keenan. Oh, go ahead, Hosma. Go ahead, you have more.
No. So I think the other thing he did is also encourage me to continue producing training videos, and he was extremely supportive of the manner in which we produced it, and very enthusiastic about it. So I'm really sorry I didn't get to Las Vegas.
Go ahead, Keenan.
I don't know where to start. That's tough. I guess I can blame Fenwick, because in after hours, Pretto was talking about his rocket launch, and I made this weird comment and said, we should stream it like SpaceX does. I think we could do this. I knew nothing about video production, well, a little bit. And Fenwick kind of jumped behind me, and then we ganged up on Pretto. And I don't think our veracity was matched with his, because John was like a little kid. He knew we can do this. It's a challenge. That was the one thing that, I see from Pretto is he always challenged everybody, all of us, to do more, to stream from a dry lake bed 7 miles from cell service when Starlink is still in its infancy, and having people come from literally all over the world, either virtually or, in the case of Tuomo spent a grip of money to fly himself to that site. And, for me, Pretto knew what I was going through. You guys all knew that. Everybody knew, sitting in an empty house after you lost everything, it changed the trajectory of a lot of people's lives. Even if it's just somebody's having a bad day in office hours, and Pretto was the guy that, bumped you up, made a funny joke. I mean, his jokes were the perfect, dirty, off-color, poorly timed, but sometimes it was just what you needed. And yeah, so I'm super fortunate to move out here, and Fenwick and I got to go spend some time with John just not too long ago, and I got to drive him to a doctor's appointment. And it sucks, but I'm happy my friend is no longer suffering. And as my Facebook post went, Pretto crossed the Kármán line yesterday. So his goal to space, he's there, and he's running databases for us up there now. So
Go, Jeffrey.
The first time that I interacted with John, because I met him through office hours, he came back to me. The one line he says, "Stop saying 'and just like that,'" and little extra stuff if you didn't know how to end a sentence. And we talked about how to present in situations where, like with any type of presenter would suggest to you. So it was interesting because he was very open in telling you what he thought. And it was great because I learned a lot from him. Plus, we talked back and forth, and he got me some business when I most needed it, in doing some editing and doing some other things. We were going to do a couple web pages and everything like that, but before everything started to happen with him. And so, of course, with I wasn't there for the launch because I couldn't be there, but at NAB, afterwards I went and visited him, and we went to the Great American Pub, where we saw the rocket, which is hanging, as far as I know, still hanging at that pub. So if anybody is in the Vegas area going over to Henderson to the Great American Pub, you can see that rocket, and maybe we should at the next NAB.
I don't know if the rocket's there anymore.
If it's not there, then I get it. But if it is there, then maybe we should go visit it during NAB.
Go, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm a numbers stats guy, so he had me at take a look at these graphs, and I was trying to find and if anyone knows, I'd love to see it. I was trying to find which one or more of the episodes where John just blew me away with all of the things, all of the stats he was tracking about the show, and all the different graphs and everything he was able to pop up. And let's also not forget, I mean, does anyone know? I forget which kind of bird, but I love that you would see him talking, about these very serious technical issues sometimes. And there's either, what?
That's a conure, I think, or a lovebird, one of the two on his shoulder. That was a part of his presence.
And it was either sitting on his shoulder or just randomly walking around in the background.
It was definitely part of the show.
I just loved.
Yes, you'd be talking, the little bird would come flying around making noise. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. So, Jeffrey, the rocket is no longer there. Keenan has it in his possession, and Keenan and I have been scheming about something to do special with his rocket. And yeah, I think it was like 10 or 12 feet tall. The thing about Hosmic, what you said, I think you said something about John seemed to have a South African connection. And I'm not saying he did or he didn't, but I will say this, that John could make anybody feel like he had a connection with them. He was a little rough. He was a little crass, but the man had a heart of gold, and he could connect with anybody. And Jeffrey, you were saying he found you some work when you really needed it. He was always doing stuff like that for people. He was always so giving. He had made some good business choices in his life and lived quite comfortably, but he was always looking out for other people. And yeah, he's going to be missed. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
When I heard the news, I was looking back through some of my DMs with John, and he was just so encouraging. Like every time I would be on and not been on for a while, it was like, great to see you here, man. It was just like amazing. And he sent me a shot of some of his early specs from the first year. and he had a 97% attendance rate.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was
number one. He was top of the list.
He was above me.
And,
I come pretty often.
And this was less than a month into the start of office hours, this screen grab.
Yeah. So we wanted to pay tribute to just such a core person, incredible person in our community. And again, he's crossed the Carmen line, and we're gonna miss him, and we're gonna leave you with a picture that reminds us of him. So there you go. Thank you so much.